Welcome back, guys, to another Brave Exvius video. This is going to be a first for the channel. This is going to be our first Neovision review. We're going over Cloud, the FF7 CG Remake version of Cloud Strife here. So thank you guys for joining us, spending a little bit of your time here today once again, as well as for the support for the channel. It's amazing out there. Hopefully you guys are having fun. And once again, thanks to our Patreon as well as YouTube channel sponsors. You guys are awesome out there, giving a little bit of extra effort to keep this channel growing up there. So let's get in here of Neovision Cloud. There's going to be a couple new things that the wiki has set up here for the Neovision. We'll be going over all of those differences as well, so you guys know how to operate the site if you guys do use it like I do. And let's get in here. So let's talk about his TMR first. It's the Buster Sword, the FF7 Remake version. It's going to be 158 attack, two-handed great sword with the general great sword variance 1.3 average. So nothing super insane. If you don't have a two-handed great sword though, when he does come out, you're going to be able to get his TMR there for you. His STMR is the Destiny Conqueror. It's the materia. Gives you the passive Conqueror of Fate. It gives you 200% true double hand, all right, when single wielding any weapon. So 200% TDH. In JP, they did raise the true double hand cap up to 200%. So you can get this from NV Cloud, right, by a little bit breaking him a couple of times to EX +2, which we'll talk about briefly, or by just going ahead and using a STMR Moogle on him if that is your desire. Now, he also has a vision card that is from him specifically. This is from awakening a base Neovision unit like Cloud to EX +3. It gives you some bonus stats here for having the card equipped. You can level it up. It starts at 40 attack flat, goes up to 100 attack, and then at various levels, 4, 7, and 10, which I do believe is the cap, you gain some extra passives here. Level 4 is going to give you 50% attack when equipped with a great sword. Level 7 is going to give you 50% more attack when equipped with a great sword. And then level 10, it's called Great Sword exclamation point. It's if this is equipped to any FF7 unit, they get an additional 30% attack. So a lot of extra attack there. A lot of this may go to waste depending on your gear, and it's already still very easy to hit the 400% attack cap there, but this might help you out in the long term if you are trying to min-max your stats in some fights. Although right now it's very hard to say exactly how much this is going to help you. The base attack there might help you out, but a lot of that is kind of really overkill, especially right now. So let's move into the Neovision version of Cloud. We're going to be going over their base stats actually for the first time in a long time, so you guys can see the difference between a base Neovision and EX +1, a +2, as well as a +3. So as you can see here, the base Neovision for a character such as Cloud, you just kind of pull them. They come as a base Neovision. They come as a 7-star form, and then you're allowed to awaken them with character shards from events, or if you get extra copies of them, you can do that as well. And the biggest one here is the EX +1, because this is going to unlock his Brave Shift form. But on top of that, you're going to unlock some special extra things, right? The Brave Shift for all the EX characters or the NV characters unlock at EX +1. And then for natural NV characters like Cloud, right, you will get the 100% STMR Moogle for themselves at +2, and you'll get their own card at +3. On top of that, you're going to get a little bit of extra base stats. The biggest base stat jump, though, is from NV base to +1 here. The ones afterwards are a little bit smaller. So you go from 284 at +1 to 309 at +2 to 327 at +3. They get a little bit smaller each time you level up there, and they're not really that large. You're not getting, 100 extra base stat or anything, because +2 and +3, they are a lot harder to get than the +1 is. So you're definitely going to want to get +1. This is going to unlock the Brave Shift form. This is going to be the second version, basically. You've seen it before where you kind of transform Cloud like it's on his motorcycle. This is going to unlock new skills and new passives. The two forms is pretty much like having two characters, and all of the Neovisions are going to get a Brave Shift. So you're going to want to have access to this. Clouds, when you Brave Shift, it's available on turn 1. It lasts infinite turns until you decide to turn it off. But once you come out of it, you have 2 turns of downtime before you can go back into it. And it allows Cloud to do a lot of different things. His non Brave Shift form is very single target oriented, whereas the Brave Shift form with him on the motorcycle, it's very AoE attack oriented. So let's get into the skills here. In the equipment selection, very small weapon selection, swords, great swords, and maces, okay, which is very tried and true to the character in FF7. And then we have armor selection, hats, helms, clothing, light armor, and heavy armor. Now let's get into the skills here. You're going to notice that they have, you know, not maybe as many skills as we're used to seeing. This is because they don't really have a 5-star form or a 6-star form. They're pretty much 7-star units, but they will get extra skills that you can level up, sort of like an ability awakening system with their burst abilities, and we'll talk about those as well. So let's get into it. He has the first skill here, Assault Mode. It's going to do a 14.2 times mod, Stardust Ray Chaining Frame Family, and it's going to unlock Slash, Mega Slash, and High Slash as skills for him. So that's going to be a way to unlock those skills. The second skill here is Brave Mode, which gives him a 200% attack buff, and it unlocks Crash, High Crash, and Mega Crash. Crash, not Slash, all right? Then we have the traditional Braver Chain Finish skill, 31.6 times mod. Sonic Avoid, which gives him 2 stacks of Mirage for 1 turn. Then we have Burst Slash here, 31.5 times mod. Stardust Ray Chaining Frame Family. He starts with innate triple cast there for all of his skills. And then we get into 101 and above here, Infinite End, 1 use per battle, okay? 96 times mod, 1-hit chain finish skill, so it's like a Magnus ability, and then you get a 100% limit burst damage buff for 2 turns. Then we have Ignition here, 6-turn cooldown available on 1, 300% attack buff for 5 turns to the caster, as well as a 400 MP split over 5 turns as well. Then the final skill, Disorder, 2-turn cooldown available on turn 2. Even if you decide to dual wield him, which you shouldn't, he's a TDH character, it will only cast 1 time. It is a 69 times multiplier and gives you a 50% human killer buff. Now, also, remember, he comes as a 7-star base character. That's why if you've been paying attention, you looked over on the side. Yeah, he's going to come not at max level. He's going to come at like level 1, right? Because he learns these skills 24, 46, 85, 100. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if he actually comes at max level or if they just have these things in here as he levels up for some reason. But I'm pretty sure you have to level the character up still. And their final skills at 110, not 120. Now his passives down here, we have a lot of stuff. Let's sort for you guys. He does have 200% passive TDH. That means if you get his super TMR, that's another 200%. That's going to put you at the new 400% cap there for you. Now his attack, HP, defense, and spirit, he's got a lot of passives for those. We have 20, 40, 70, 100, 120, 150, 170% attack there with additional all stat here for a final 200% attack. So 200% attack, 200% TDH. And we have some HP defense and spirit passive sprinkled in there. So he's going to be moderately tanky. He's got like 70 to 100% HP defense. It's HP defense and spirit passives, and a little bit of MP in there too. He also has 100% passive Hemun in Machine Killer. And he's going to have Slash, High Slash, Mega Slash, Crash, High Crash, and Mega Crush, apparently. Crush and not crash here. Multiplier increases 15 for the slashes and 20 for the crashes. I'm not a rapper. I believe I am not. Now he also has a chance to not die. 100% proc rate when his HP is above 5%. So he's got 1 guts passive there. He's also immune to blind, paralysis, confusion, and disease. He has 100% base limit burst damage. He gets 3 LB gauge crystals per turn, 100% high tide, and 5% MP per turn. Now, noticeably here, he does still have a trust ability. This is going to be very small compared to what we usually see for trust abilities. He's an NV unit, so his TMR, super TMR, this procs it, but it's only 20% attack, 20% spirit, and 3 LB gauge crystals per turn. So this might be a thing that we see with other new NV units, is that they will have TMR abilities, but their TMR abilities might not be that great. This could just be one character, right? Could be an outlier where some other characters that are NV units are going to have really good TMR and STMR activated trust abilities, but in this case, it's really not that great. Now, his slashes and crashes, okay, we have down here. The slashes are Stardust Ray chaining skills. The crashes are chain finishing skills. So the slash, high slash, mega slash, basically what they do is they buff the other version. So slash is a 16 times mod that gives a 10 times mod increase to high slash for 1 turn. High slash is a 21 times mod that gives a 10 times mod increase to mega slash for 1 turn. And then Mega Slash is the 30 times mod that gives you 6 LB gauge crystals to the caster. They're all Stardust Ray. So you would very easily triple cast Slash, High Slash, Mega Slash, right? Because Slash would be a 16 times mod, and then Mega Slash or High Slash should be a 31 times mod, and then Mega Slash would be a 40 times mod, and then you get 6 LB gauge crystals that way if you wanted to. So you can go about that route, and that's pretty much basically all you're doing there. Now we also have the crashes. We have Crash, High Crash, Mega Crash. These are all chain finishing skills, okay? And these are a little bit different. So we have Crash, which is a 20.8 times mod, High Crash, which is a 30 times mod, and Mega Crush, which is a 34.4 times mod. Now what these skills do is they buff the multipliers for Braver, and as you can see, Braver plus 1, 2, 3, and 4. For 10 times by a 10 times mod, not for 10 times, but by a 10 times mod for 5 turns to the caster, and these do stack. So if you have a turn where you have your triple crash, you go Crash, High Crash, Mega Crash, you're going to get a 30 times mod increase to the Braver skill. Now he also does have access to Fire. Just a little bit of a nod to him casting magic, although I think he starts with, does he start with Fire? I guess he starts with Fire in the remake, so I think he started with like Ice and Thunder in the original game, but in the remake he starts with a Fire spell, so that's why he has Fire there. Now, here's his Brave abilities. This is very similar to the Ability Awakening system. It's pretty much a copy of the Ability Awakening system that we know and love, the ones that use, you know, Pure Cris, G and Cris, all that stuff. But instead of using the Cris that we've been acquiring in and out for days on end, okay, this is going to be using a new type of a system, new things where you get them from, I think they're like, I don't even know what they're called, but I don't know what the translated name is going to be, but you get them from events, you get them from shops, etc. So it's basically just new awakening materials. And you can see Braver plus 4 here is a 100 times multiplier. So you can get that very, very high, hefty chain finish damage there. And we have Burst Slash down here, which is a 72 times multiplier. All right. And then his Limit Burst here is the Crime Hazard, also known as Clim Hazard. It is a 130 times mod. 12 hit skill. Looks a lot like the normal FF7 Cloud that we had back in the day, where he kind of jumps around, and then there's a long delay between that first couple hits and that final hit where he comes down, which is the heavily backloaded part of that limit burst, that 12 hit LB. The final hit is the large majority of the damage there. So he can do chaining, he can do chain finishing, he can do limit burst damage. He does all those things pretty well. All right, but this isn't even his final form. We're not done yet, but let's talk about the base form just a little bit more here. So we can get in here. We have the multiplier increases for Crash, High Crash, and Mega Crash. We talked about that, right? They're 20 times, 30 times, 34 times. Those actually get a 20 times mod increase to all of those skills. Don't forget that. There's a lot of damage coming in from those setup turns. So you can chain finish on 1 turn where you Crash, High Crash, Mega Crash, and then after that, right, you're doing a 40, 50, 54 times mod. The following turn, you're gonna have that 30 times mod increase to his Braver skill, Braver plus 4. So it's gonna be a 130 mod that you can try to shove into a pretty big chain and get the chain finish bonus there as well. So that's gonna be a thing that you can do. And if you don't want to use him as a chain finishing character, you also have the option to use Burst Slash, which is a 72 times mod Stardust Ray chaining frame family. And I don't think we have anything for Burst Slash as a passive buff in this form. So that's basically what you're doing there. You unlock the slashes, you unlock the crashes, and then you just have the chaining skill with Burst Slash if you Ability Awakening that with the new Brave Ability Awakening system. Now, we've talked about burst form. This is not the only form of Cloud. If you're on the wiki, you scroll down. Usually this is where it ends, on the limit burst here in the quote section. But if you go down just a little bit more, you're going to see his Brave Shift form. So the Brave Shift form, they can change a lot of different things about them. It can change their equipment selection. It can change their base stats. It's definitely going to change what abilities they have access to. It even changes sometimes their passives abilities as well, because you can gear out your Brave Shift form different than your neutral form if you want to. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. So you can do a lot of unique things with that, right? It allows them a lot of design space to do so. We'll have to see where they go from where they are now into the future But let's go in here and we can check out his ability selection, his equipment selection. His doesn't change. Actually, his does change. That's right. I forgot. Sorry. Whoops. I was checking out a different Neovision character before this, but he gets swords, great swords, katanas, and fist weapons. Before it was swords, great swords, and maces. Now he gets access to katanas. He gets access to fist weapons in this form. And his abilities change too, right? The first one, like I said, is very single target oriented, right? A bunch of single target damage. In this form, he has different skills. He does still have his triple cast ability, but this is where you're going to get a lot of stuff. He still has the ability to unlock slash, high slash, and mega slash, crash, high crash, and mega crash. He still has braver. He still has sonic avoid, but now he has spin slash because he's on that motorcycle. This is going to be an AoE Stardust Ray. 0.5 mod for the first 9 hits, 26.3 for that final hit to all enemies. All right, and it's 100% lightning imperil. He also has Plasma Slicer, which is a 22.5 mod to a single enemy. It also lightning imbues him. Then we talked about the triple cast. Then we have Rapid Chain here, 1 use per battle. 0.5 mod to 1 enemy, then an 86 times mod to all enemies on that final hit. It also gives you a 100% limit burst damage buff for 2 turns to the caster, Stardust Ray, Chaining Frame family. Final 2 skills, we have Ignition, 300% attack buff for 5 turns to the caster, restores 400 MP over 5 turns to the caster, and then Lightning Chain, 2-turn cooldown available on turn 2. 62 times mod to all enemies, increases physical damage against machine monsters by 50% for 2 turns to the caster. Passively, let's check out these passives here. There's no sort button, but you will notice one thing here. A pretty big one, okay? He actually has a true dual wield, but not the true dual wield ×6 mod. So his biker form, kind of like he did in Adventure, not so much in the remake, right? He breaks that sword down, and the first Sarugi, I think, and he starts dual wielding, very similar to that. So he's got HP and MP passives, attack, defense, magic, and spirit passive. He still has the human killer, the man eater. He still has the blind, paralysis, confusion, and disease resist, but he has base dual wield, 100% true dual wield here, and then another 50% true dual wield here as well. So he's going to be a true dual wield character in his burst form, so we're going to want to gear him out with true dual wield gear if you're trying to utilize his burst form. You don't have to, but you can, and it's going to be different for you in that form because he doesn't have the 6 times mod cap, but you can build him true dual wield if you want to. If you don't want to build him true dual wield, you still want to build him true double hand, then you're going to have even more gear than usual here. And his TMR and STMR activated trust ability are still the same. He also still has the mod increases the slashes and crashes, 15 times for the slashes and 20 times for the crashes. He has the LB damage still, all that good stuff, but he changes from a true double hand character into a true dual wield character. The slashes and crashes here look the same, still do the same exact thing that we talked about before because they are the burst abilities. These are the unlocked abilities here. You might not always have access to these things depending on the different NVs, but this one right now that we're talking about, Cloud, still has access to them. Still has fire, thank goodness, and he still has braver plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and spin slash 1, 2, 3, and 4 there as well. Now spin slash here plus 4 does go up to a 74 times mod, and it is against all enemies, and it is a lightning imperil. So spin slash is a new skill because before it wasn't spin slash, it was burst slash. Burst slash was single target. Both forms had braver. The first form had brave slash, which was single target, 72 times mod, that gave you 8 LB gauge crystals. But the final form here, the burst form, is spin slash, which is AoE and has a lightning imperil attached to it. So keep that in mind. And then his limit burst is actually different as well. Still big, large multiplier, 117 times mod, but this time instead of single target, it's against all enemies, and it decreases the lightning resistance of those enemies by 120% for 5 turns to the caster. And the animation for this is different. It actually isn't CG. He's on his bike already. He just drives around them on his motorcycle, slice it and dice it. I'm up 15 hits, 38 LB carriage crystals to cost there. So he does do a lot of cool stuff. He has a lot of different ways that you can mix and match his damage. He can chain finish. You can kind of do a lot of different things, and you can go in and out of his brave shift form pretty much whenever it is that you want to. Now remember, he's got those cooldown skills. Those cooldown skills are available in each of the forms, especially the big Magnus abilities, right? He has these Magnus type abilities with a new icon, which I'm assuming we'll get this eventually in global as well. But these are his big LB damage buffs, right? We have this one, 100% LB damage for 2 turns to the caster, can't be dispelled. And then in his Brave Shift form, he has, what is this one called? Rapid Chaining, 100% LB damage to the caster, can't be dispelled. And then the other one he has is up in his non-Brave Shifter form, Infinite End. So you could do something like you want to do a bunch of single target damage with his Limit Burst. That's your goal. So you start the fight out, you're in your base form, you can shift right away on turn 1, you shift into motorcycle form, and then you go, okay, I'm going to do damage next turn with my LB because that's what you want to do. You go Rapid Chain, you get the LB damage buff, and then you turn off the Brave Shift form. You turn it off. You go back to your normal Cloud form on turn 2. In this story we're talking about, and you use his LB, maybe you entrust him, whatever it is that you want to do. You use his Limit Burst. Boom, gone. 130 times mod, 100% LB damage, whatever. You do all that stuff. Now you want to do it again. You're allowed to, right? Because this skill is different. Infinite End, it's a different skill. So you can go in there, Chain Finish, Infinite End, and some other skills, and you'll get that 100% LB damage boost again, and you'll stay in your non-Brave Shifted form and use Clim Hazard one more time. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with envy units, swapping back and forth, using them with different gear sets. Some of them are a little more forced, like Cloud is, where you kind of have to do true dual wield, but there's a lot of cool stuff. We'll be talking about other envy units, the one that I'm looking forward to the most in the future. If you want to see that stuff, did I say bat stuff? If you want to see bat stuff, if you want to see that stuff, go ahead, leave that subscription button, notification, click it on. Otherwise, this channel doesn't exist to you. Comment down below what character you're looking forward to, even if it's not announced, as a Neovision unit down there so we can see what everyone's using. I would love like Neovision Malphase. That'd be super cool. Get a Neovision form of Malphase or Prish. Or something. That'd be super awesome down there. But thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of your time here today. Hopefully this was informative. This is a lot of stuff to go over, 2 forms of the Neovision characters. But until then, guys, let me know how strong you think Cloud is. Thank you so much for the support, especially via Patreon and YouTube channel members. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.